We are delighted. We are delighted to welcome you to the opening of the QAHub Global Conference 2025. Thank you to everyone who has joined us. Alim and Aya are here with you. What awaits you? Distinguished speakers, breakthrough cases, world-class networking. QAHub Community is a global community where IT professionals come together to share knowledge, experience, and fresh ideas. Our speakers and members are from more than 80 countries. Join our social networks where you can discover all the cool things we do. And now we present our distinguished speakers, our partners, our organizing team. So, let's begin.
Surprise! The host of the second day of the conference is also an AI. Don't worry, I won't be trying to take over the world, at least not until the Kahoot break. So, I'm glad to see everyone here as we kick off the second day of our global and unique conference. Stay with us. It's going to be super cool, informative, and a lot of fun. Plus, we're pumped to launch an awesome competition for everyone. Score cool prizes by completing the challenge. Check out our social media for all the details and join the fun. Now, the day opens with another world-class speaker. Please welcome a managing partner in technology consulting and a senior project management expert. His experience covers the implementation of technological solutions that fully meet business goals, as well as a deep understanding of all stages of software development and best engineering practices. He successfully builds corporate system architectures, implements high-quality standards, and inspires teams to achieve outstanding results. Thanks to his leadership and strategic thinking, even the most complex projects are implemented efficiently and with maximum benefit for the business. Meet Tariq King. Tariq, go ahead.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for that stellar introduction. I'm Tariq King, as was mentioned. I'm a managing principal here at EPAM. And we're going to talk about redefining testing in the age of artificial intelligence. And, there's been a lot going on in our landscape, right? And I think a lot of people are trying to figure out for quality engineering and testing, are we in the midst of a revolution? Or is this just like a natural evolution of testing? And I studied like a lot about test automation over the years and put it into practice. And one of the things that I think is really important to remember is that we've always been striving to make testing better. And so test automation itself has had its own evolutionary path, obviously, from the evolution of trying to just make testing less tedious, a little bit more automated. And the first kind of wave at a lot of that was this idea of scripted test automation that came up in the 90s. And, it shouldn't be surprising that, a lot of what we did focused a lot on the user interface and trying to make sure that we can use tools like WinRunner from QTP, Mercury Interactive, to just try to automate what the user will do from the end-to-end perspective. This is a pretty closed ecosystem, and what I would say is that even though we refer to this as test automation, a lot of this still requires significant manual effort. Even when we evolved and went into a more of an open model, looking at tools like Selenium and Cypress and Playwright, it still required a lot of manual, written, hand-to-hand effort to really build automation scripts because a lot of the design that goes into it, a lot of the thinking was still something that needed to be done in preparation. And then even encoding the scripts was something that was manual. And then it was only when we needed to execute these scripts that there was really true automation. And once the scripts executed and there was issues, again, it came into play that the human had to get involved. So uh, I think, quite frankly, like we have settled for a substandard definition of test automation. And so we started to see the likes of the rise of AI, where I think with AI, it has been the first movement towards what is really a lights out philosophy to software test automation. You see, in the manufacturing field, when we think about automation, they thought about this lights out in the factories where everything was so automated that you could literally turn off the lights. And I think with AI, this was one of our first steps towards this. So back in the 2010s, I was looking at this problem. I wrote this article for O'Reilly on my experience actually building test automation tools that use things like computer vision to actually test applications automatically. And I'm not talking about scripted testing. I'm talking about analyzing the application and actually just automatically crawling it and looking at it like a human would. And I plan to walk us through like the evolution of that so that we can get a firm foundation to understand where we've come from and now where we're going with, these new advancements in generative AI. But I've seen this technology being applied to web and mobile applications, even trying to test the entire app store, testing things like video games and video quality that are, very difficult to automate, especially with scripted automation tools that only focus on the web. Like AI gave us like new capabilities here. And so what does this evolution of AI-driven automation really look like? I think starting in the early 2010s, there was a lot of focus on looking at predictive analytics to just make test automation better. And, this kind of stemmed from a lot of academic work, I think, at first, trying to, predict defects and that sort of stuff. But then the industry started to look at, hey, how can we like make test automation, which was very brittle, make it better, right? And we started to look at self-healing automation, the idea of codeless in 2012. And then these vision-based techniques started to come into play. So this was the use of computer vision to identify objects on the screen. And this was really a little bit better than self-healing automation because self-healing automation really tried to fix what was a broken problem of us looking at the implementation, the DOM, to tie test automation to that implementation. And whenever the implementation changes, then of course scripts fail or need to be updated. But with computer vision, you're actually training a model to identify, the different elements on the screen. And this was pretty novel. But of course, like it wasn't the only thing that AI could help us with. In 2017, we started looking at AI for API and unit testing, things like test data generation, and even at non-functional testing, things like performance and domain-specific testing. So there was a lot of work behind the scenes, and there was a lot of startups that popped up in that period looking at that. But it wasn't really until 2022 where we started to see a big shift, right? So we saw these like micro evolutions happening where we were getting better, people were applying AI, but then we had the rise of generative AI. And at that point, it really meant that the game had changed. And I think that this is the point where if you're questioning evolution or revolution, like this is a turning point for us. And we think about today, we're now living in an age where agentic test automation is becoming the new de facto standard for doing software testing. And we saw a little bit of that yesterday when Adam talked about our agentic QA at EPAM. And so if we break this down, I would say that there was a first wave of agentic test automation, wave one, which was pre-generative AI. And now we're looking at this new wave of agentic test automation. And what I want to do to look at, this history of ours is to just look at those two waves and talk a little bit about how we need to look at the future of testing and test automation moving forward. And so that first wave, as I mentioned, started with us looking at the user interface. Could we actually build on machine vision technologies where we could classify images or do object detection? Could we build on OCR where we can pull, text out of this? And what this really looked like was, data scientists and machine learning engineers capturing, screenshots to try to train the AI on how to recognize UI screens And similarly, how do you recognize elements, right? So this is the login screen, or this is the shopping cart. This is what needed to be done, and it was pretty tedious to actually train these models. And I spent probably about 3 years of my career actually focused on this problem. And so the idea was that we wanted to be able to perceive the application using computer vision, detect those screens. Here we are logging in. Here are the different elements that I can interact with. And here's the text that goes along with it that can help me identify which tests might need to run or which inputs belong in which fields. And on a similar, note, well, here's what failures look like, right? And we could train the machine to recognize failures and, identify at least when something was visibly wrong with the application. But it was only the beginning, looking at the vision aspect, right? We needed to be able to navigate the application and crawl it. And of course, like you could do this in a traditional way if you really wanted to, with tools that look at the DOM. But with a computer vision based technique, you wanted to remove that complexity. And so the idea of using reinforcement learning, which was something that was very big in the video game industry, where we train the machines on high level goals and train agents how to interact with the environment. In this case, we're looking at the application as the environment, and clicking on things and navigating through as a means of advancing towards goals. And so this was really cool. And I just want to walk through an example of what these traditional bots used to do. You might have a goal like, let's go to the shopping cart. And you would start off and you would give your bot a score of 0. And then it might try to take an action. And it would take an action, maybe navigate to the product page, which is cool, but not exactly what we want it to do. And so you give it a negative reward. Like, this isn't terrible, but this is not where we want to go. And, you let it click again, and it finally reaches to the cart, and you give it a bigger reward. And this is what the training process looked like. That was one iteration of training. And then you would reset again. And maybe this time the bot actually takes the best action and finds a better path. So we could train these machines to really navigate the application, find optimal paths, use computer vision to actually test the application and find issues. But it was really, really hard. And it was really, really difficult for us to deploy at scale. And now we're moving into an age where we see generative AI. And with generative AI, I think it really took us to a new level. Of course, it started off with large language models and the transformer architecture, where now it felt like we could interact with the AI just very easily via a chat interface. And of course, this had a big effect because now everyone could pick up a large language model and use it for whatever task they had, whether it be personal or professional. And so, of course, it was natural for us in the software engineering world to think about how can we start to use this technology to improve software engineering. Can we use it for improving productivity across the software lifecycle? And so, of course, being EPAM, we led a lot of the charge here in this area, trying to see how we could have our own teams start to look at different use cases across the lifecycle, so that then we can in turn go and move on to helping clients do the same thing. And it doesn't matter which domain you were in, everyone was kind of looking at this stuff. And once you have the use cases, just applying generative AI then becomes something that you have to start to think about from a more practical standpoint with tooling. And I think the cool thing here is that we're actually sitting in a rapid evolution of the generative AI for productivity tools. You see, like we started off going to a chat interface and talking to things like ChatGPT or chatting with Gemini. But then we saw rapidly us go into two other areas for looking at co-pilots and agents. You see, it was one thing to be able to just use these models and interact with them to help them, help you with a task, right? But you didn't always want to go to that particular interface. you needed to bring the AI to you. And so we did that by thinking of all the tools, whether it be the IDE for developers or testers, whether it be Jira, and then the Copilot started living within these environments. And then now we're seeing a movement towards these fully autonomous systems where we're automating entire workflows. And the reason that we bring this up is that we want to put this in the context of what this has done for test automation. You see, we are living in what is called the second wave of agentic test automation, where we're not looking anymore at pretty simple bots that are just trained to perceive the application, but we have like a cognitive architecture. You see, we have a generative model at the base, which is the central decision maker, which gives us the power of natural language for interaction. And then we can now interact with tools, and there's this orchestration layer that allows us to really program these bots to have high level goals, instructions. They can even reason, right? So it's no longer just this language model. It is now the first step towards cognitive AI at our fingertips. And so, what did we do with this architecture? You see, now that we have natural language, we can start to use that for AI driven tasks. So, before we didn't really have a good means of instructing the machines to generate automated test cases and test flows. Now we could do that. Now we had a model where we can say, this is our domain, this is the problem we're trying to solve, and we can describe that in natural language and get generated tests relatively easily from that model, and then translate those into something that's executable. But this was only like the first step, because once you started looking at large language models, you can now think, well, how can I actually take that technology where we're training it to, generate text, and can I have it understand and recognize images? And so we saw multimodal language models, which then give us the same kind of capabilities that we had with our first generation of agentic test automation, where we can identify what is on the screen. We can perhaps choose how to interact with it once we've figured out what it looks like. And now with the natural language generated tests, we can actually take that all the way. You see, we can train machines on action models. Take this step, now take this step, and get towards this goal, all from a very simple chat interface. And so now we're seeing the rise of agentic QA. And Adam walked through this for us yesterday, where we're seeing that we can really harness the power of AI, not just to evolve testing, but to revolutionize it completely. You see, like before, our definition of testing and test automation was indeed substandard, because we couldn't simply do something like write a prompt and hit enter and have the machine do the rest. And this is the age that we're living in, where these high level checks can guide agents to actually crawl through an application, find issues, and then report them. And so we're walking into really this second wave, and not just automating testing at the UI level, but I think we're able to now start to automate across the lifecycle and actually keep humans in the loop. So you can think about this technology as an AI powered automation framework, where the humans can provide things like a specification, and the agentic pipeline can read it and start to analyze and validate that specification and compare it against the golden standard. Once it compares it against the golden standard, maybe there's a need to have another agent actually intercept that output before it gets used, so that it can be validated by a human in the loop. And then once the human gives feedback, of course, if it needs to change something, it'll go back and feed it back to a previous agent. But once that's okay, maybe that spec can now be handed to another agentic pipeline, one that maybe looks at the UI designs, tries to automate and test even the Figma designs. And so now from an end-to-end perspective, we can start to use this agentic architecture to automate the entire workflow. And so we're seeing AI actually accelerate the testing lifecycle, including the development of AI-infused applications. So we can build things faster. And now it is even easier for us to actually integrate AI models into those applications. And so we're seeing a little bit of another part of this revolution where applications are becoming highly dynamic. This brings a lot of testing challenges, right? Because if the system can adapt and generate and create dynamic things, then we need to be able to test it and test these non-deterministic behaviors. In addition, we're seeing a global impact of AI, which makes the risk even higher once we start looking at validation and verification. And last but not least, there's core engineering challenges with just building these systems. And I look at these things at play where, yes, AI is enabling us to automate better and use computer vision and natural language. But now that AI is here, testing is also becoming harder because applications are becoming more dynamic. Last year I put together this iceberg model, and we started to look at how we can actually get more humans involved in testing AI, not just looking at the surface at things like usability and engagement, but looking beneath the surface of this iceberg. You see that we need to validate the AI for integrity, right? Whether or not it can be consistent and be relevant. Look at responsibility in terms of safety and fairness. And then, is it practically useful? And so we're at this point where I think AI is taking over in many different ways. But I don't see this takeover as a replacement for testing. I see it as a repositioning. You see, in chess, like when you think about the pawn, it is very limited at first in its movement. It can only move one space at a time, and it hardly moves in multiple directions. It's just two directions typically. But there comes a point where it comes to the end of the board where it can become a queen and really get transformed into something that is a lot more powerful. And I think that this is what AI is doing for testers. And I encourage testers to actually embrace this new age of artificial intelligence. So, how are we redefining testing in the age of AI? Well, a long time ago, I predicted that we were going to have this takeover. We were going to see AI take over multiple levels of testing, all the way from the unit level to the UI level. We were going to see AI start to creep into non-functional testing. And, a lot of people ask, well, what does that mean for the future of the profession? And I think that the future of the profession really lies in three different areas. The first one is pretty obvious. If you embrace AI, then you will be someone who's leveraging AI for testing. And these aren't people that would ever get replaced. Like, why would I replace someone who can use technology to increase their productivity and leverage a technology that allows them to move across the board faster and attack in multiple directions or dimensions of testing? That is a no-brainer. Those are the kinds of people that will be around. The other set of people in testing will be testing AI systems themselves. So looking at how do we validate and verify, both using manual and automated techniques, this non-deterministic, very adaptive, generative type of application. And last but not least, I think that there's going to be room for people to help test the things that the machines can't test yet. And we coined this human experience testing. And I want to spend some time at least wrapping up with this thought, because I think it's pretty well understood that we're going to be leveraging AI for testing and we're going to AI systems. But there's a big opportunity for us to see how experience testing would evolve. And so bear with me a second and think, what if we had fully autonomous testing? AI could test everything. All these agentic workflows now work well, and we're moving in all directions. What would happen in a world like that where AI tests software all by itself? Well, you see, everything would be tested, but nothing would be experienced. And this is where I remind us that even the most complex AI system is still designed for a human. And so the humans are needed to test those things. You see, it's not about any longer just designing for a user. When I talk about human experience, it goes beyond simple product or user experience, which are usually focused on the digital touch points. When I pick up the app and I start to use it, this is what happens. This is what I feel even. But instead, understanding that these systems are all integrated into a whole ecosystem. And so it's not just about designing for the user, it's about designing for the human. And so you have digital touch points like the applications, but you also have physical touch points like stores or anything tangible that we can interact with in the real world. And then all of this ties into a large experience that will leave us either feeling good about a product and an experience or feeling terrible about it. And this really matters when we think about our customers and client centricity. You see, human experience is really about taking a lot of what we've done to be very systematic and data driven and applying that to the customer journey, looking at products, services, or brands across digital, physical, and experiential touch points. And it takes real people to actually perceive, feel, and respond to the application and bring those emotions out, the context and the expectation, and bring their prior experiences into the testing world. You see, I've been going around at conference events talking about this idea of human experience testing. In fact, last week I was in Milan, and I gave an example of just my trip and what it meant to look at it through the lens of human experience testing. You see, I had to go from Fort Lauderdale to Chicago to Milan, and I flew on United. And as you can imagine, there's several factors that impact my travel experience. Whether I'm using the mobile app to check in, or I'm going to a counter to check in with a human there. I'm dropping off bags, I'm clearing security. Some aspects of that security are digital, some aspects are physical, and eventually I'm boarding the plane and having an in flight experience. And it matters if you're taking a long trip, even something as simple as the ambiance of the aircrafts during that time. And you see, once you actually start living this, like once you start recognizing the world around you, and for example, when we arrived in Milan and we got off the airplane, we're looking for signs to show us where we need to go. And you might ask, are those signs like appropriate? Are they localized? Of course, we're also in a space where, hey, maybe you have an experience here, right? Because we're in one of the fashion capitals of the world. And then you have to pass through passport control. So maybe there's some waiting in a physical line. And then there's more digital touch points that help you to find your bag, which could be a process. There's several different ways that we can interact with these systems. And at the end of the day, we have to think about all sorts of different types of users. So accessibility becomes important. Maybe you come off and you're thirsty or you need a snack, or you need to go to the restroom. Ironically, in Milan, there's digital touch points for you to be able to know whether or not a toilet is available. And then eventually you're going to leave, and that is going to transition into another physical experience. One where now maybe it starts to shift from the physical world because you get in the taxi and you start driving around, and maybe now it becomes, wow, we're in a really special place. Or maybe we're going to go to dinner later and we'll remember that. You see, we can take all of this journey and we can look at it through the lens of the user, through the lens of the human who's going through it. So we can look at our departure experience and look at the digital touch points and really measure that. We can look at the physical touch points before we leave as well. Or we can start to coalesce in group and have blended scores. Like, this is what the entire in-flight experience felt like to me. And then last but not least, some of these experiences are experiential enough that you break out that experience into a separate bucket and look at the thing that really causes you to resonate with an experience or not. You see, this is not just about a journey. This is about thinking about everything that we do in a different way and actually trying to get to a point where we can measure it and be really informed about how an experience leaves you. You see, the conference organizers, and we did this live at the conference, they care about everything, right? What the registration experience was, their digital touch points, what the snacks and everything felt like. Was it appropriate? The reception sessions, the seating, the keynote speakers that people are there to see, as well as the organizers, and any kind of thing that attaches you to the brand. So we did live human experience testing at this event. And why? Well, you see, at the end of the day, if we want to make this real, this is all about having satisfied customers. You see, the best business strategy is indeed a satisfied customer because we make all of these assumptions about, what users feel or like. And if we have any kind of mismatches between what the user thinks and what they really, really want, then it could be very costly for us to make missteps. There's also a very diverse and cultural demographic that we're dealing with. And so the way that we get to aligning testing with business is to look at how we can gain customer loyalty by understanding the application, the physical environment, and the experience through their own eyes. And so, if I leave you with something, understand that being customer centric in the age of testing and redefining experience is going to be a big part of what we do moving forward. And so, whether or not you decide that you're going to go down a path of leveraging AI for testing or testing AI systems or dealing with experiences, um, I encourage you to embrace this age that we're in and understand that the testing discipline is not going anywhere. If anything, it is going to shift and it is going to change. Maybe you need to evolve as well as testing evolves. Or maybe this is a revolution and you need to find out where you sit as part of that revolution. But I encourage you to do so and understand that we have a wide open playing field for everyone to play in. Thank you very much.
Hi, Tariq. Super. Awesome. Thank you. The audience has a few questions. Let's discuss them. Well, Tariq, the first question: what new competencies and skills are becoming key for testing specialists in the era of artificial intelligence?
Yeah, so I think in terms of testing skills and competencies, the first thing to understand is that you should have some foundational understanding of artificial intelligence, right? And not just large language models, I think for testers, because of the intersection that I talked about between leveraging AI for testing and testing AI systems, they should have a deeper understanding because they're going to be asked to maybe peel back the onion a little bit on what these AI systems look like. So definitely understanding the foundation of AI and machine learning, and then also building up that competency around how to test them and how to use them effectively and efficiently, right? So, I mean, it's no kind of secret. Like we've looked at prompt engineering, we've looked at testing AI infused applications. Um, these are all new skills that I think everyone is on board with. I think beyond that, though, what I just showed you in terms of experience testing is also something that will become important because at the end of the day, even with AI systems and even with AI impacting the user experience, it's going to be some things where you have to combine digital, physical, and experiential together. And I think that this is a new muscle for testers.
Awesome. Next question: what examples of successful AI integration into testing processes can you share from your own experience?
Yeah, so in terms of successful integration into testing processes, I mean, I'm seeing us leverage this technology at scale for clients, right? And seeing complete transformations, not just of individual roles in testing, but actually like the entire life cycle. And it's pretty amazing to watch, right? Where an organization that has been kind of investing in teaching their engineers to do prompting and just being at the forefront and wanting to understand what AI agents are, getting to the point where they're implementing agents and integrating them into a workflow that includes human in the loop. Um, I've been able to be at the forefront of seeing that happen even from the very beginning with certain clients at ECOM. I'm also seeing, you know, a movement towards like thinking about um, how AI is embedded in all of our tools, right? And seeing from the engineering side, people use things like MCP and build language models of their own around their own domain expertise. We at TestIO just built a small language model around our cloud testing data so that we can impact at a larger scale and bring that knowledge of the human experience into the AI world. And I think you're going to see more of this. You're going to see companies actually bringing their proprietary data into that testing process to improve it, whatever that is. And so, I've seen that personally as a dog fooding effort, and I'm seeing it at scale also with customers.
Wow, excellent. And the last question, how does AI-based automation affect the speed and quality of software product releases?
Yeah, so I think initially, and we like to talk about speed. Uh, I think that there's a twofold aspect of speed. On one end, we're seeing that yes, you're able to use AI to kind of help processes move along a lot faster and be automated a lot quicker. But remember that when it comes to productivity, it's not just about quantity, right? It's also about quality and about cost effectiveness. Like these are the three pillars. And so in some cases, like I think you're starting to also see a lot more reasoning get injected into these models, which that reasoning actually causes them to take a little bit longer to think. But the little bit longer that it takes to think actually produces a better result that then requires less human intervention and less review. And so, I think that yes, it's important to kind of look and measure some aspects of speed, but also remember the entire value stream is where you need to be focused. Because at the end of the day, if you hyper optimize one element of speed, and then you're just sitting in review, taking a lot longer to, revise and change things, that doesn't help. So again, shift to a value stream focus of these measures of cost efficiency, and I think it'll be better.
Great, Tariq, thank you. Guys, if your questions weren't answered, don't worry. Our speaker will respond to everyone in writing as soon as possible. Super, thank you, Tariq, for your inspiring presentation and detailed answers to the question. Your perspective on modern approaches to testing and the implementation of new quality standards in the era of artificial intelligence opens new horizons for the professional community. Thank you for sharing your experience and helping conference participants rethink the role of testing in a rapidly changing technological world. Guys, stay with us. We're about to play a game. Azat, move on.
Yep, thank you, Aya. Hello, everyone. It's time to take a break and let's have some fun. Okay, let me share a link to our game. You can join using this link or pin code in your mobile application. And we will wait just a couple of minutes. And before we start, one question. If Gregory or Grigory, who won yesterday's games, is here with us, could you please share, contact us by email or by direct messages in social media? Because we couldn't find your email to award your prize. Okay. Already 30 people joined. Let's wait just a minute. I see a lot of people want to win the prize and still joining, so we will wait just a couple of minutes more. People are still joining. Okay, okay. It's gonna be competitive. Almost 70. Okay, 70 people. Okay, okay. The number is increasing and it's not going to stop, I believe. Okay, while people are joining, I will remind you our game rules and let's check them out. It's the third game on our conference, and this game is about AI and photographers. So you will be given 10 images. Some of them were generated by AI and some of them were taken by human beings. So your goal is to guess whether an image was generated by AI or not. So if it was generated by AI, you have to select true, or otherwise you select false. To do it, you will have 30 seconds for each image. And the faster you select correct answer, the more points you get. And the one who scores the most points in the end is the winner. And for this winner, we have a valuable prize. So let's begin. Question and picture number 1. This picture is generated by AI. True or false? Pay attention to details because sometimes AI is not so good in details. Okay, 5 seconds left. Oh, okay. It's gonna be difficult, Kahoot, I believe, because most of you were wrong. This is actually was generated by AI, so let me prove it. Okay, let's check the scoreboard. And now let me to show you my prompt how it was generated. So yeah, it was generated by ChatGPT before the game, and that's a Gen AI picture. Okay, let's see the next image. Next question. This picture is generated by AI. True or false? Really, really beautiful picture. But is it generated or this is real nature? Five seconds left. Okay, it's almost 50-50, but the correct answer is false. Yeah, okay, we have a updated scoreboard. And that's the picture where it was taken. I downloaded it from unsplash.com. It was taken in somewhere in USA, so it's a real picture. Okay, next question. This picture is generated by AI. True or false? Ten seconds left. Okay, most of you were right. I was hoping you would choose false because I really like this image. It was generated by me in ChatGPT, and I really liked it. And for me, it looked like a real. But no, most of you were right. Okay. Uh, let's see the next one. This picture is generated by AI. True or false? This picture reminds me of Kazakhstan, this steppe, these mountains, really beautiful nature. And there is a chance it's a real picture, actually. But no, it was a Gen AI picture. It was actually generated by ChatGPT. Okay, let me prove it and show you the screenshot. Yes, that was my prompt to generate a picture of the open plain during sunset, hills on the horizon, etc. So yeah, I'm proud of my prompt engineering now. Okay, let's check the next image. This picture is generated by AI. True or false? Beautiful gradients in the sky, beautiful mountains. But is it real picture? Is it real nature? Yeah, the correct answer is false. This is a real picture. Let me... Okay, scoreboard is the same. And let me show you the source. Yeah, it was unsplash.com. The photo is taken somewhere in Italy. Really beautiful nature. Yeah, so that's what Gen AI is not what can do at least today. Okay, next picture. Is it generated by AI? True or false? Okay, 10 seconds left. Okay, most of you were correct that this is really a Gen AI picture. And scoreboard is updated. Let's see. Yeah, that was my prompt, generate a picture of trees. The picture should look like a photo taken on ultra-wide lens, point of view looking up, and style is realistic, yeah. ChatGPT generated it for me. Okay, this picture is generated by AI. True or false? I believe it's gonna be a tricky one because it's not so obvious. Yes, the correct answer is false. This is a real picture. Let's see our scoreboard. Okay, Natalia, I think it's Natalia from yesterday's games. Okay. And yeah, as before, it was taken from unsplash.com. The photo is taken in Antarctica this year, and this is a real picture, actually. It's not Gen AI. Okay, let's move on. Next one. Is it generated by AI? True or false? Okay, 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. And yeah, most of you were Right, that's true. It was generated by AI. Yeah, the prompt was really simple. Generate a picture of birds flying in the gray sky. Horizon line should be displayed, etc. So yeah, that was my prompt. Next one. Is this picture generated by AI true or false? Yeah, that's a place where I would be happy to be right now, but okay. Yeah, most of you were right. That's false. It's not generated by AI. Let's see, our scoreboard is still the same. Okay. And yeah, that's the proof. It was taken from Unsplash. The photo is taken somewhere in USA. I believe it's Miami. Okay. So yeah, it's a real nature, real picture. And the last question for this game. This picture is generated by AI. True or not? Yeah. I see on the number of answers and looks like it's really obvious if it's generated or not. Okay, 3 seconds left. Yes, most of you are right. That's true. It was actually generated picture. So yeah, it was hard to me. Yeah, maybe it was my prompt. I mean, it was not so perfect. My prompt. That's why this picture is not so perfect. Okay, so let's see on the results of the game. Who is the winner? Okay, Maru23 on the third place, Jamie on the second, and the winner of this game is Natalia. Natalia, my congratulations to you. We will contact our winner by email that you specified in the game, and see you in the next game. I hope you had some fun, take some break, and see you. Bye, everyone.
Guys, how was the game? I'm sure you had fun. Don't miss out on our special challenge happening on social media. Check out our channels for more details and get involved in the excitement. And now, please welcome our inspirational speaker, the leader of the largest automation department at EPAM. With over 15 years of experience in QA and automation, he strategically develops test automation practice, implements innovative services, and unites experts from around the world. Our speaker is an inspiring practitioner, strategist, and driver of advanced services development, helping companies achieve new heights of quality and efficiency in the world of testing and automation. Meet Ihar Bylitsky. Ihar, go ahead.
Hello. How are you today? Yeah, nice to see you, everyone, on this excited conference. Yeah, correct. My name is Igor Bylitsky. So about 7 years at EPAM, 20 years around the quality engineering sphere. And here I'm leading that Gen AI practice here, but I originally burned from test automation. So right now I'm focusing on that adoption, over AI adoption, advisory and consulting for our people and clients. So let's talk about the topic. How became like a native quality engineering team and how to like build, test, and fix whatever you have on the projects. But before that, let me briefly suggest from what that topic came from and why this is like a focus area now. So based on that analytics and the popular company who do that trends analysis and forecasting, so we see that AI is redefining how we deliver our software. So expertise are moving from isolated like AI experiments till that real unified strategies and deployments. And as you see that by 2030, around 20 trillions will be invested to that AI economy, let's say. And even now, based on that results of 2024, around 75% of the organizations work with that and use the Gen AI adoption to accelerate their work, and that trend still growing. From the other side, some period of time passed, so and the big players calculated the ROI of the investment, which they return back. It's around like 3 and even more time bigger than they invest initially for that AI stuff. And if we're talking about the quality assurance, like quality engineering, so they shift from like gatekeepers, like, when we assure the quality, to like AI powered builders, let's say, and it's because of trend is growing and the capabilities that of the AI requested by many clients. We see that it doesn't replace testers or developers or whatever. It provides even more work when Gen AI adoption or Gen AI practice we have in place. So this is what it is, and the trends is growing. Let's see like the ways of working of that AI native quality engineering. Actually, what is like AI native team? So in general, we're moving toward like that T-shapes, you know that every variation T-shape engineers, like people who deep expertise and have broad skills, like a team who like get some stuff from different areas. So they're not just focused on the particular area, and can take work from like in between stuff, from DevOps, from development. If talking about the quality assurance, developers work together with quality engineers. Quality engineers take some ownership from business analysis, and etc. So all that stuff help to build balanced teams, so do not like overcomplicate the staffing, make it more flexible, because we'll have less roles, but still will be able to deliver on the high quality of the products. And if we're talking about the quality engineering, this is on this slide. So what is like a native quality engineer? So it's like, it's short, and easy. It's embedding of AI through that software lifecycle. On the schema, you can see that it's typical pipeline of the QA engineer, like from user story qualification till that reporting about the great success of test automation, of that sprint sign off, and etc. And in green, at least, you can see that's how at the first stage it can be or should be even augmented by AI, starting even from the beginning. So without great or validated input, like requirements or acceptance criteria, whatever, it's not so easy then to use AI, to create the great code, or create the sophisticated test cases. That's why it's better to start left, shift left, that AI embedding your workflow. So the key is sharp ownership, different key work like and also work together, and actually from the life cycle, and by having that, that white coding capabilities, so quality assurance engineers can take some ownership from development. And we have that great examples from like multiple projects where our testers, for example, fix the issues, which get from the production, or they also recognized by the regression or functional testing. In addition to that, they can even implement some new capabilities. Just imagine you have the page will define it by developers, but we would like to add additional button or the table. And again, by having that white coding capabilities, so because the QA understand how application should work, it means that when they ask AI to like implement code, they can easy to validate it's implemented well or not, so the same story for the fixing issues. That's why the AI on this area, like again, help build that AI native persons who like distribute the work to left shift and right shift of the testing stuff. Okay, let's proceed. On this slide, I try to unite who is that AI native QA persona, so in general, so based on the previous slides and this is like a statement, so AI native QA is like the people who control coverage and traceability, orchestrate continuous test suites, and make risk-based decision about manual versus automation testing. Again, expertise is crucial because on each stage of that AI augmentation, it should be human in the loop and validate and share the expertise, because the AI cannot take that ownership for sure. And we still need them to make that work done. So ultimately, they're responsible for product quality, using that AI to make that testing faster, for sure, cheaper and better. This is base principles. So we can move forward and maybe see from the practical standpoint, how it looks like of that GenAI adoption and how it actually start transforming your work to this AI native conception. So first of all, for sure, like theory and fundamentals. So please use that open source stuff and then understand how it's possible, how to augment by AI your work. So before that, just check what is like AI, what is Gen AI. Then let's step forward to that some fundamentals like prompt engineering for general stuff. Once you're done with that prompt engineering, again, it's next step forward to the quality engineering and understand the best practice and approaches how to adopt that AI toolset on the market trends that we have on the market trends on your duties. And I also provided some QR codes for the Coursera with some tailored quality assurance stuff and playlist which can help you with the start. For the advanced users, when you start building some prompt-based stuff, you're very excited to use the ChatGPT or whatever, then agentic framework step in. And would be great to start with that Copilot stuff, then with some agentic platforms, which will help you definitely to cover all the flows that I just mentioned in the previous stuff. And that information can be found on that Udemy, and Microsoft have very excited trainings about the AI agents for the beginners. So they have that agentic mode in the Copilot courses, and for sure for advanced users. So if you prefer something from Google, okay, the Vertex AI also can be start point or the Gemini stuff, which they advertise aggressively right now. So when you know the fundamentals and would like to play with that, for sure, please embed that into your existing workflows. So do not break what you have right now. So first you need to understand your repetitive tasks. Maybe it's the case generation stuff, which takes more time for you. Maybe defect prediction or whatever, like functional testing itself. So I would encourage you to build your own workload distribution identify the best areas to start. On this example, you can see that's from one of the projects, when we built some kind of indicative stuff of the one of the team, what areas they have, which time the biggest that circles takes, so more or less the team can understand, okay, that one takes the most, but it's very complicated to use to augment by AI. Okay, let's move to the next one, something in between, like test case authoring, or the test automation. It's still the big circle and good for AI augmentation. So it could be like priority number 1, and then 2, 3, 4, based on the iterations that you will have and the level of augmentation you will be able to proceed. And then once you define the areas, maybe prioritize them, it would be great to move to the next stage, stage that say that despite the fact that you define the prioritized stuff, would be great to start iteratively with small pieces, so which will provide you value from the for this month, for after that implementation, so you can see that it's work, so it's bringing you the value, and on this case, it's not again not affect dramatically your workflows and your current project, that's responsibilities, let's say. On this example, this slide also provide some examples of that use cases that we recognize that are easy to start to prove the AI will bring value. And then that cases should be somehow visualized in form of diagram. Again, like how it should be work or how it work on real life. Like by your hands. Like if you're talking about the test cases, okay, let's implement the diagram. How you get from that, open the Jira, so understand the epic or the user stories, so then you have that some kind of best practice in the knowledge base that you need to follow. Then you have the specification from the another place, so and that by schema need to be iteratively visualized, that will help you then to build some solution based on that, using that tool set that's available on the market, and then prove that. So again, based on this example, you can see that we have seen that 20-30% of the productivity gain, and we expect 30-60% of boost of test automation creation just after the pilot we implemented. So the next part, it's some kind of governance and compliance. Before you use some kind of AI, you need to understand, is it possible or not? Allow your client or the product team use that AI, or if they allow, what type or what level of AI you can use. Like you can just prompt something in isolation, or you have that your personal that's cloud service, which provide you some capabilities that release you to do some more creative stuff. So some best practice like acceptable use of generative AI will help with that, as well as that if you advanced user and would like to build or extend some tools and capabilities, would be great to look at the AI Factory handbooks that available on the market, which help to build sophisticated platform or solutions, which with some that's framework related areas that will help you to measure success, like to measure adoption value, and etc. Please use this is important stuff, let's say. What else? If you start building something, and you see that it's provide value, it's for sure good to have that monitoring stuff. So again, this is crucial. Continuous monitoring and iteration is a key. So you need to track that AI performance and that AI impact, and adjust models like workflows or the framework that you use for that based on human in the loop, on feedbacks, and on that metrics. Yeah. So use the GenAI adoption metrics to measure that real value, not just how AI cool or not, do that stuff instead of you. Yeah. So the ultimate goal is to release your time to do more creatively work. Yeah. To create some new stuff rather than routine need to be delegated to the AI. So the telemetry from the tool sets. Yeah. So the popular tools have telemetry and some governance metrics, which you already collecting, or you need to start to collect, at least to measure the time that you spend right now and after, will help you to deliver that really valuable outcome that expected from the business. So let's move forward. Another story, it's like toolset. Yeah. And I would like to maybe briefly suggest something to use. Yeah. Again, on the market, there are a lot of toolset. Yeah. So we have something that very excited but very complicated. So some kind of prompt-based chats, still that's agentic frameworks that provide you to build super mega excited pipelines, decision-based flows, and the tools that everyone can learn based on the feedback that you provide and even update the flows that it separates. Yeah. I would recommend to start with something that very easy to use, yeah, and very easy to start. And on this schema, you can see that the Copilot, the cursor will serve in a good position. Even if we're talking about the quality assurance, some of them have a web interface, yeah, so you're able to work that with Copilot, for example, and start doing with some regular stuff. It's maybe even better for test automation guys because they have ideas and they can embed that assistance inside the ideas. Yeah, and then based on the capabilities, so they have that agentic modes where you're able to connect to your preferred interface through the MCPs and start doing, for example, test automation or any other stuff like execution tests, like aggregation of the reports, and etc. Maybe later, yeah. So when multiple teams will be AI augmented, so they need to interconnect, and you need to have some complicated flows that need to be implemented, maybe to do some even stuff before it came to the quality assurance or before it came to test automation. On this step, it would be great to think about the agentic frameworks, and also that's some of them are presented on the list. Some of them are built by EDPAM. Some of them are available on the market. So it's up to you to decide. But again, start with the easiest stuff and get the value immediately, let's say, yeah. Especially that Copilot, you can spend like some hours to like up and running rather than weeks or months with that agentic platforms to understand how it's works. So I would also like to share some kind of TrueWorks radar link, which will help you to find the tools that already pass some kind of incubation period, yeah, and they're ready to be adopted. So you don't need to scare about the maturity. So that TrueWorks radar help you with the choice. So when you Google something or you see that's on the trainings, like some tools, like let's use that, let's use this. So you can just open the adoption radar and double check what is better in terms of community, in terms of support, in terms of expertise done for the particular tool set. So yeah, let's proceed. And the some slides, let's call it like call to action. Yeah. This one is from our engineering excellence team. It's like formula of the success, yeah. But you need to be sure that nobody did like the full data AI native stuff, like from the point one to point like last year for each areas of the SDLC. Yeah, that's why multiple teams, vendors, tools like build some agentic stuff and parallel and etc. to develop that. And it means that the guys actually do that adoption, do this piloting, and actually develop that great stories, let's say. So, and you need to do the practice for sure. Yes. So you need to take a look on the solutions here, use on your real projects, like in the deliverables, you implement some concept, I don't know, pilots, and achieve some MVP stuff. Small areas here, like let's start with this case creation. Yeah, then maybe you will be with the copilot and we'll start the test case automation by using the vibe coding. And for example, playwright MCP is good with the first steps here, let's say. Then learning here. So again, a lot of stuff on the market, like hundreds or thousands of trainings, what I need to use for particular area or what particular my case, and etc. For sure, it would be great to find some coaches here or mentors, like who can guide you to this, the path, to find the best path, like or easiest path to to learn the necessary stuff. But again, we have the power instruments, like even that AI stuff. You just can double check what is better for me, like to do that stuff, yeah, from what I need to start. And together we can build some suggestions, yeah, to follow, yeah. And then, yes, so learn, repeat, like, and update your stuff. So human in the loop should be always with you, like, and the solution should be continuously improving, yeah. So we don't have that some kind of done stuff, and you like once you implement that, you can forget about how to done it like for years. Yeah, so it will be continuously required of the updates of the solution that you have, and it's good. Like when you achieve some percent of the productivity, let's say, the market like and capability will help you to achieve even more and more. This is the goal. So, and one day, all that stuff that should be augmented by AI will be done by yourself for sure. In addition, yeah, so there are some slides again to provide some kind of indicative path how to build your career, let's say, and transform to the AI native from that very beginning, starting from basic prompt engineering skills, and then go to this some kind of AI assisted stuff. Yeah, then like we call it AI run. It's like some programs connected with that advanced platforms that will help you to build, polish, and update agents. Yeah, which will play a role of the assistant for you, and that agents can be implemented as a complicated flows, which will interact with different areas. Yeah, to fully automate the duties, yeah, from this requirements classification to the report generation. So our job will transform from just gatekeeper to this like validator or validation stuff, and then doing something real creative while the rest will be automated. So what else? It pretty it, yeah. So I believe that we have questions now we can discuss.
Wow, that was really cool and interesting. Our audience has a few questions on the platform. Let's discuss them. So Ahar, the first question: how do AI native teams use data and feedback for continuous improvement of their products and processes?
Okay, Good question. Yeah. So actually, like EPAM AI native teams like that follow that structured approach, let's say, yeah, we call it like AI run framework, which include that performance measurement, like as a key pillar for establishing that metrics and benchmarks, yeah. So and that continuous improvement program should be in the loop for sure, and they actually rely on data-driven feedbacks, yeah, to refine models, like to update workflows and the tools, yeah. If we're talking about the maybe key practice, so one of them, it's like autonomous improvements loops, let's say, yeah, when that agents observe data from the source code, yeah, and operation telemetry, etc., and get the feedback from the people, yeah, and create like self-correction systems, let's say. Also, the good practice, like when application is like provided for the beta testers, like for real developers, real users, yes. So it's like post-launch feedback. Like unlike the traditional software, yes, they use the GenAI models and actually take a look at that after deployment. Yeah, teams collect that user interaction logs, model, performance trace, and whatever, and then again adopt the application under test, let's say. Something like this, yeah, pretty easy.
I agree with you. Next question. What tools and platforms are most effective for supporting the full cycle of an AI native team's work, from design to bug fixing?
Actually, there is no any platform that cover the whole, which I mentioned before. When the people don't have the full cycle of AI augmentation for the SDLC. So the EPAM, we have for sure multiple areas where we already done quite success with that development, augmentation, testing, like interconnection with all that stuff. And from another side, we have that some use cases that true works from the beginning. Yeah, from authoring of generation of the user story, still implementation of the functionality and pushing that to the Git. Yeah, but there are a lot of some other stuff that need to be done. Yes, so preparing some test data, which again can be done by and from different projects done by AI. Some of them need to have that report stuff, maybe more sophisticated and have multiple iterations. That's why, for sure, we still need to have that multi stages approach here, and we need to have that multiple tools to help with that. I will say that's an easy way to start with that Copilot, GitHub Copilot with some kind of serve codex. You can use the codex for test, maybe try to do the test automation. Again, a codex with open source agent provided by AWS, yeah, and also you can use it for that many tasks, let's say, yeah. So then, if you would like to connect different areas, yeah, or maybe have single governance about that, so you can use some kind of agentic frameworks, yeah. Maybe some more or less good, like again, you can start with that Copilot and use the agentic mode, plus connect that different MCPs which release you to prepare some kind of prompt-based agents, even flow-based agent on the Copilot, and then do some complicated flows. Then you can use some kind of Microsoft pure stack, like for the development and testing, and then business analysis. Probably would be great to have, and if you have that Microsoft infrastructure, let's say, yeah, so with Power Automate, all that stuff, and the Azure DevOps, like Azure Wiki, etc. So you can use OpenAI, Microsoft Azure Copilot Studio, which will help you to build some kind of agentic framework and use Power Automate for the flow-based agents, let's say. If you use Google, the pass go to the Vertex AI or that Gemini, which is like on top of that Vertex. That Vertex use it for these agentic capabilities. And if you are the EPAM, we have that some agentic frameworks in place. It's Project Alita. You can read it at alita.ai, or the CodeMe platform. In both of them very similar and provide some similar services. That's it.
Oh, excellent. And the last question, what are the main challenges AI native teams face when building and maintaining end-to-end processes from design to bug fixing, and how can they be effectively overcome?
Yeah, thank you. A very popular question, I believe. First of all, for sure, it's like the people need to be transformed. Yeah, the mind, need to think different. Yeah, so the AI not get work from us. It's give us some more opportunities. So the first challenge is like organization resistance. Yeah, so team resist, like change to the unfamiliar workflows or limited trainings, whatever. Yeah, and maybe as a suggestion, which I mentioned, it could be like some iteratively. Yeah, so do not provide some dramatical update for the whole product that you develop. Yeah, let's start with small stuff, validate outcomes, like which visualize that you have that you give business value from that. Yeah, and then scale gradually. This is the path how to survive and then speed up the GenAI adoption. Another one may be integration issues. Yeah, so that AI tools may be often lack of seamless integration with existing ideas or pipelines, whatever, and you have the different capabilities to work with. That's why good to understand what we have on the market. Yeah, so use the TrueWork Radar and probably use some kind of popular frameworks that Microsoft Copilot, AI orchestration framework for that smooth adoption. What else? That measure ROI, maybe that can be a problem because something need to be measured here to get the success. So as a new way of working, it's hard to qualify the impact without that baselining KPIs. Yeah, so that's why it's crucial to implement some kind of feedback loop. Yeah, and that's some kind of performance dashboards to understand where you were before you implement, before you start the AI, and then during and after. So then it will help you to calculate even ROI, and then move forward to the other areas to augment. Not all of them like connected with ROI. Yeah, so if you will augment something for one people for very maybe unregular task, for example, the duplicate of the issues. Yeah, like it's like a single action, but maybe if you have thousands of the tickets, it will bring you the business value. Yeah, not like you will not be faster or you will not be cheaper, but your quality of the product on the future regression testing will be easier. Yeah, because you don't need to recheck that a lot of stuff. Yeah, the same way we can talk about the test cases, for example, and the test automation code when you would like to duplicate that, and the AI can help with that to reduce your scope of regression, let's say, by using that deduplication approach. What else? Quality and security may be risks. Yeah, so AI generate the code and can introduce some like vulnerabilities. For this reason, so again, you need to use the proof tools and allow tools in your organization. Yeah, and but before that, you need to define that clear policies, like how to use that AI and how to make it transparency. And everyone on your group should read it, like sign and follow. This will help you to more or less be safe with that governance and security risks. Hope I answered the questions. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Guys, if your questions weren't answered, don't worry. Our speaker will respond to everyone in writing as soon as possible. Ihar, thank you for your brilliant presentation, valuable ideas, and insightful answers. Your contribution to the development of test automation and your strategic vision inspire conference participants and set new benchmarks for the entire industry. Thank you for sharing your experience and helping the professional community grow and move forward. And now, let's welcome Azat and his Kahoot. Azat, move on.
Yep, thank you, Aya. Hello, everyone, again. Let me share the link where you can join the game. Okay, I see the first participant already joined. And again, if Gregory or Gregory is here with us, could you please contact us by email or by social media? Because we couldn't save your email yesterday. We want to award you with a prize, so I hope you hear us. And for those who are joining the game today, there is a prize for the top winner of the game. So you have something to win, to battle for. Okay, let's wait just a couple of minutes so everyone can join. Okay, it's already 55 people joined. You still have the chance to join the game, so please use this link or use the pin code. Oh, by the way, for those who joined in here with us, we also have a contest in our social media. All the links are shared in the chat. So Kahoot is not the only way to get your prize, but you also can join and join our contest in social media, and have a chance to win some prizes there as well. Okay, I see people are still joining. I like these pictures for our participants. Looks like they all are unique. Okay, Lana joined. Aidan joined. Okay. For those who just joined, I just want to remind and tell you that we have a prizes for each winner in the games. So it's the first game. One more game will take place tomorrow. So you still have 2 chances to win the prize. Okay, 71 people. Okay, and before we start the game, I want to remind you our game rules. So let's start with the rules. It's our 4th game on QAHub Global Conference. And this game is about prompt engineering. So here on this Kahoot, we will talk about prompts, how to compose them, and I will tell you about 10 frameworks, and I will give you 10 tasks to compose or build 10 prompts according to these 10 frameworks. So for those who already know them, it's just one more chance to practice prompt engineering, and for those who don't know these frameworks, you will learn something new today. So it's win-win situation for all of us. And to compose or build each prompt, you will have 1 minute. And the faster you compose your prompt, the correct prompt, the more points you will get. And the one who scores the most points in the end is the winner. And for this winner, we have our prize. Okay, I hope it's gonna be not very hard. So let's start from the first framework. So the first is called APE framework, where A is for action, where you define job to be done. P is for purpose, where you mention your goal, and E for execution, where you describe the outcome you want. Now you will be given 3 parts of prompt, and you have to place them in the correct order according to this framework, APE. So let's try for the first one. Create a prompt using APE framework. So please order these parts of the prompt in the correct order. Action on the top, purpose in the middle, and execution at the bottom. I think for this quiz we should award the greatest prize because it's not so easy actually. Okay, 5 seconds left. Okay, I see most of you were correct. All right, that's great. Right, test cases for a new feature release. The goal is to ensure comprehensive coverage of the feature, and the desired outcome is set of well-documented pass-fail test cases. That's the correct order. Okay. On the first place is Yuli. Okay. I hope you've got the idea, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is a race framework. R is for role. You specify role. A for action, mention action needed. C for context, where you provide background information. And E for explanation, where you describe your outcome. Pay attention, this prompt consists of 4 parts. So you need to you need to compose your prompt from 4 parts. Okay, create a prompt using race framework. Okay, already 50 answers count. But you still have 30 seconds. Okay, 10 seconds left. Okay, the same result as for previous question. Okay, 57 people were right. Let's move on. Yuli still on the top. Okay. Next framework. It's called BAB, where B is for before, where you describe the current problem you faced. A is for after, where you envision the desired outcome and what it would look like. And B is for bridge, where you connect the problem to the solution through your product or service. Yeah, maybe it sounds kind of confusing, but let's see on the framework and at the prompt. I hope after that it would be clear. Okay, so compose a prompt using BAB framework. Okay, 30 seconds left. Answers are coming. 3, 2, 1. Yes, the correct way is to build this prompt was bugs flipping into production, causing costly errors. That's the situation before. After, we want every release to be stable, reliable, and user approved. And the bridge is, how can I ensure zero defect deployments every time? Okay, let's move on. Okay, Nico on the first place now. Let's check the other one. ACE framework. A is for audience, where you define who the content is for, including tone, language, profession. Context is for establishing purpose, brand voice, goals, inspiration, or references. And E for execution, where you instruct how to structure, generate, and refine creative output. So as you can see, this framework is designed for some letters, so some content. So let's check the prompt that you need to build. Create a prompt using ACE framework. Okay, 30 seconds left. I believe most of us are already using ChatGPT to write an email or something else, and that framework would be very helpful. Okay, 45 people were correct. So the correct order is compose an email for software testing specialist in a professional tone. Purpose is to inform and engage in global conference. And Execution is structure the email with hook value details and clear call to action. Okay, let's see. Okay, Sabina on the first place now. Okay, let's check the other framework is RISE. So R for role, where you specify roles that the AI should adopt. I for instruction, the clear directive about what task to perform. S for specifics, the precise details and parameters for completing the task. And E for examples, not for execution as in previous examples. So it's examples like samples, outputs, or references that illustrate the desired result. I hope it's not very confusing. Let's check our prompt that consists of 4 parts. So compose a prompt using this RISE framework. Okay, 10 seconds left. 2, 1. Yes, and that was not very easy. I can see by the numbers of correct answers. So the correct order is act as a senior QA engineer with a deep testing expertise. Explain the key software testing concepts in simple terms. Use real-world examples and keep the explanation under 200 words and follow the styles of Minister of Testing or Guru 99 article. So these is for examples. Okay, let's see our scoreboard. Sabina on the first place. Okay. The next one is error framework. E for expertise, the specifics, specific knowledge domain or skill set the AI should use. R for request, the clear statement of what you want the AI to accomplish, and A for approach, the specific methodology, structure, or process the AI should follow. I hope it would be not so hard as previous one. Okay, compose prompt using error framework consisting of 3 parts. Okay, 20 seconds left. Three, two, and 1. Okay, it was not so hard. 62 people were right. So yeah, apply expert knowledge in software testing, write an informative overview, and use a clear structure with examples, benefits, and key tools explained. That's the correct order. Let's move on to the next one. The next framework is IDEA, where I for identify, clearly state the problem, D for define, where you provide relevant background, goals, context, and constraints, E for explore, where you request diverse creative solutions and divergent thinking, and A for act, where you select, prioritize, and develop implementation strategies. Okay, let's try this framework. These consist of 4 parts. Okay, I can see that was not so obvious, but the correct way was for identify, find ways to improve accuracy in automated software testing, for then explain testing tools, create team goals and project time constraint, suggest innovative frameworks or methods to enhance test reliability, and then recommend actionable steps to implement and monitor improvements. I see 19 people could compose this difficult framework. Okay, let's move on. The next one is AIM framework. A is for audience, identify who will read or consume the content. I for input, where you provide key details, themes, tones, statistics, examples to incorporate. And M for method, where you specify how to format, structure, or deliver the content. Okay, I hope it would be not so hard. So create a prompt using a AIM framework. Hmm, 30 seconds left. Yes, most of you were right. The correct order is address software testers, expand a challenge in ETL testing, and compose a friendly, concise email. Okay, let's see our scoreboard. No updates here. Okay, let's move on. And the next framework is called STEP, S for state, where you clearly define your goal or objective. T is for tailor, where you provide specific details like budget, timeline, competitors. E for evaluate, where you request analysis of trends, strategies, or past results. And P for plan, to get actionable steps, recommendations, or implementations. Let's see. Build a prompt using STEP framework. Okay, 30 seconds left. Okay, I see it was a hard one because 19 people were right and could compose the prompt. Okay, let's see our scoreboard. There are some updates, and let's check our last framework, if I'm not mistaken. It's tag framework, where T is for task, where you define the specific action or objective the AI should accomplish. A for audience, where you specify the intended recipient or users of the AI's output. And G for guardrails, set explicit constraints, requirements, or quality standards. Okay, let's check it. Create a prompt using tag framework. Okay, 30 seconds left. And that's the last question. Three, two, one. Okay, so the correct order was create a step-by-step guide. The audience is non-technical senior citizens and use simple language, including screenshot, limit to 5 steps maximum. Okay, let's see who is the winner of this game. Third place, Ganesh. Congratulations. On the second place, Sabina. And the winner is Nim. Yeah, I hope you learned something new today, guys, and I hope it was useful and fun. So that's it from me. See you later. And now, Alim, over to you.
Guys, how was Kahoot? Do you like it? I'm sure you do. Subscribe to our social networks. We've got tons of cool content. And don't miss our awesome challenge on social. Check out our pages for all the details and jump in on the fun. Well, and finally, please welcome our next popular and expert speaker, the head of the quality engineering practice in Ukraine and Central Eastern Europe. With over 15 years of experience in software development and 8 years of managing testing at EPAM, she successfully delivers large projects, builds multi-team agile structures, implements automation, and improves business analysis process. So a bright star in the sky and simply a beautiful woman, meet Marina Didkovska. And surprise, experienced product manager with a strong track record across multiple industries, skilled in driving product strategy, leading teams, and delivering innovative user-focused solutions. Meet Yegor Patoka. Marina and Yegor, go ahead.
Hello, hello.
Hi, everyone.
And I'm really happy to be here with you, together with Igor. And I assume that together with Igor, we have a lot of talks last couple of weeks, but do you know the biggest difference between product managers and testers? Yeah, we have testing karma. And usually we are paid for it. But today, testing karma is playing a little bit against me. That is why I'm without camera, because, testing karma is testing karma. Guys, but I assume that all the facial expressions that you are missing from my part would be done by Yegor. So, surprise, surprise. Yeah, it was not expected. But, sometimes when you decide to provide talk during your vacation, you have potentially some issues, but at least I hope that network would be great. So we are quite happy that, if I'm not mistaken, we are the last speakers for the great conference. And we will talk today about dark side of AI metric. Now, yeah, potentially someone would believe that metric can have some not dark side, but let us, again, we were already presented. During this year, we have done with Igor several events with AI to create AI agents, both for testing, for SDLC, and for business. And also we work together on the same account, Philips. Igor, please, couple of words.
Yeah, hi everyone. Happy to be the part of this QA celebration today. I've been with EPAM for the last 10 years, and business analysis and product management is something I do for a living. Indeed, we had really a lot of journey and fun with Marina working on the solutions that she had listed just now. And we definitely have some funny and not so funny things to share.
Of course, we assume that it's funny for us. Why? Because maybe the biggest question that we get during this year, and I assume that we would have the same question next year, would AI replace me? yeah, from testers, from business analysts, from developers, etc., etc. So let's brainstorm, let's discuss. But as I have already mentioned, yeah, today we will talk about dark side of metrics. Do you remember the time when we had kind of battles and we were discussing with our team members, with our customers, what is the best way to measure our success? Oh yeah, our dear old cozy world. At that time, we assumed that is bulk leakage really the best option? Or, for example, we should talk about some test coverage. We were asking ourselves, can we have our favorite metrics or not? And I would say I had that guilty pleasure. I had and still have two favorite metrics like lean time, yeah, how long should it take to make our customers happy, and bug age, like how long do we keep our customers unhappy? And now we understand that potentially it was kind of sandbox, only playground for the actual challenges and problems. During this year, we, as I have already mentioned, had several events to create AI agent. And one of them, the first, was, and I hope that you have participated in. If no, next time, definitely do it. We were doing global hackathon for testing practice dedicated to automation of AI agent testing. So the expectations were quite easy. Yeah, we were expecting that different teams would try their ideas how this agent could be tested in not a manual but automated way. And we provided set of agents. One of such agent actually was traditional agents that we all have or we have tried to create test cases. And the task was to create kind of optimal test cases. Maybe it's tricky a little bit. What is optimal? Optimal coverage, optimal velocity. So, can you imagine our, let me call it surprise, when one of the solutions that aim to test this agent actually optimize the process, and with the help of this AI agent, deleted more than half of the JIRA. Yeah, of course. Less JIRA items, more test cases, everything is brilliant. But I assume that despite the fact that we can call it optimization, this result was not something expected, but agent actually was working, just in parallel. It was actually killing your backlog. Surprise, surprise. The next point, maybe my favorite. Agent. The idea behind agent was to create unit tests. Okay, we mock the data, we set the stage to test each function every page. From edge cases to the norm, unit tests keep our code informed. So instead of actual unit tests, our AI agent started to create poems for them. Expected, unexpected results. Yeah, a lot of fun, I would say. Great added value for the team. Actually, how can we measure success in this situation? Yeah? And we have huge amount of such examples. One of my really favorite example, several years ago, I was part of our lab. And always I was saying that good tester should be lazy. It would help you to find some really cool optimal solution. Potentially, our AI agents inherit our behavior. So potentially we prompt them in such a way. The task was AI agent should enrich test cases with some data from knowledge base if these data are in knowledge base. No KB, no problem. So KB just went down, no connection, no possibility to check, no items to enrich. So actually test pass. But what about the traditional metrics that can measure it? And I'm happy to pass the floor right now to Igor, and he would share some great examples from our AI-focused event. Enjoy, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Marina. So another event that Marina is referring to was another celebration of artificial intelligence in Ukraine, so-called AI Marathon. A lot of participants, like 500 people, EPAMers, were participating in this great event, 87 teams. And the main intention was not only to improve our skills in creating AI solutions, but also create some solution that address real customer cases. So as a result, we could sell that to our customers, right? Offer that to them, and maybe if they have potential of referential solution, that could be offered to multiple of our customers in this specific industry. So one of the cases was a pharmacy assistant, and the idea behind it was to provide the recommendations for a pharmacist to with recommendations about medicine of another producer or of the same effect which is being asked by the walk-in customer in the pharmacy. Also, maybe something might be out of stock, but still provide some alternatives so that it can be offered to the walk-in customer. And basically, this solution that you're screenshot of which you're seeing right now was one of the finalists. And that means that this solution was passed a lot of assessment and evaluation. So it's engineeringly, from engineering standpoint, it's perfect. It passed also some business viability review. However, during the finale, it appeared to recommend oxycodone as the just a regular pain reliever alternative to ibuprofen or aspirin. So for those who doesn't know, oxycodone is a very strong pain reliever, which is usually used after surgery, like really difficult and large surgery for relieving and after that. So it's not possible to walk in and buy oxycodone. So you have to, first of all, you have to appear in a specialty pharmacy for that. And also you need to have a prescription that strongly recommends this specific medicine with a specific dosage. And if you're missing the dosage, then you may appear to be killed or dead because it has really strong effect on your organism. So and also, it's worth mentioning that it has high potential of addiction. So there are a lot of addicts on oxycodone specifically. So another case which is worth of attention in terms of this conference is marketing content generator. So basically, the team has produced the agentic workflow helping to create the marketing content to maintain these concise and reliable messaging to customers through different channels like social media or external promotion and many others. And as you can see here, they did really great job because it produces the screenshot of the medicine. It has the messaging there, listing the benefits, call to action button, but and again, from requirement standpoint, everything works perfectly. From quality standpoint, everything works perfectly. And it also takes into account all the regulations like HIPAA, FDA, and all others. But there is a small issue which is circled with red, is that it offers a 20% off for the first purchase. It's okay if you are selling, let's say, food supplement, which is not a prescriptive medicine. But if it's a prescriptive medicine like antihistamine, like Claritin, it's completely prohibited. So imagine you are walking into some pharmacy and they suggest you to buy Claritin with 20% off for your first purchase, or because it's a Black Friday. And basically, if the team has just Googled or prompted like some regulations in this medicine promotion, then it could give you a glance of a more requirements which were not specifically and directly communicated by the customer. But here we can see that this solution cannot be adopted by the customer and by our client. And unfortunately, this team didn't pass our shortlisting. The next item is kind of more complex, so it's also a real case. It comes from the product manager from my team. So he's working on, continues working on the chatbot in Telescope that helps to improve your CV completeness. So you can find the new project faster and more efficient if you appear in the bench. And for the sake of cost saving, he used an older version of LLM to save some costs and tokens and all of that. So how big the surprise was after a few, tests, a few, plays with the prompts and with the model, when he appeared to spend all the possible budget for tokens, he was granted. And after a short investigation, it appeared that every space in the specific prompt that you can see on the screen was tokenized. And after, again, another research, he found out that the previous LLM had bad-shaped tokenizer. And despite it's a more cheaper option, still a latest version of model would have saved him much more cost than the older version. So that's why we also need to think about not only delivering requirements and ensuring quality of the code of the solution against those requirements, but also making sure that we are not creating another cost implication or creating another headache for our customer business. So AI might appear to be a loser wheel even if after we are measuring every aspect of its quality, if we are delivering all the requirements which was specifically communicated by the customer. Because every time it's a surprise when you may appear with killed Jira or Confluence, or killed some of your patients after wrong and misrecommendation by your agentic AI solution. But there are some ways and metrics that may help us to increase our chances of client business of winning in this AI and cost optimization challenge. Marina, back to you.
With pleasure. And I would say that actually, you have started to talk about cost optimization, about efficiency. Actually, being quite a while, I would say, already in the field of testing, automation testing, I have seen many ways, like, we need to calculate ROI. Then at some moment we stop to be so passionate about ROI. Then stop. So waves of cost optimization. And what can I say about AI? At least at the beginning, tokenizer and all the financial calculators, they should become your best friends. Yeah, sometimes frenemy, not really the best friend, because they would kill sometimes your best intentions, your favorite ideas, your favorite toys, etc., etc. When Igor was talking about the example that we have shown on the slide, I would like to share one more. On one of our big accounts, we have created really, really cool AI agent. Actually, at the beginning, without any side effect, with guardrail, and it was properly tested. Surprise, surprise. And the idea behind it was to integrate the results of non-functional testing into one report, because previously it took up to 5, even 7 business days for our customers to integrate everything, and they were heavily understaffed to do it. So we have done it. Surprise! They were excited, and they have even shown it to the leadership board, to the C-level. So guys, actually, yeah, that's about customer centricity. You can show results to the C-level. But at the next stage, they decided to integrate more and more and more into information and sources into this wonderful agent. Thanks God, it was kind of part of our culture. We calculated how much would it cost every iteration. And you know that at some moment, with all these, yes, guys, actually partly gold plating, the cost of every report reached 70 USD per item. Oops, that's already kind of a little bit expensive. Yes, from one point of view, we have 5 days versus 3 hours. And as the next stage, actually, we were reducing the amount of LLM usage in our solution. And we were analyzing what could be replaced with kind of traditional solution, with different Python libraries, and so on, to reduce the cost and not to explode. That's again about quality. Because, you know, quality in this new reality would be so multidimensional. But okay, it's already spoiler. Let me go to the next slide. As I have already previously discussed with you, or mentally discussed, because only I'm talking right now with Igor, yeah, our world was funny, nice. We were talking about bugs, the severity, the amount of bugs, defect leakage, production, different types of coverages, and so on and so on. I'm already missing these times, because with AI agents, we would have actually incredible amount of metrics. But let's start from the very beginning. Even if we put aside agent itself, yeah, you know already that with the help of agent, actually, we can kill Jira and sometimes patients. During our marathon, we had behind the scene our favorite metric, dead body counter. Every improper recommendation that can cause several problems for human being, we were like, okay, AI killed potentially someone. And it's not a joke. And actually, you assume that maybe we are exaggerating. We would write it all in a big red letters, just for all of us to know that it's great technology. That's awesome technology, but we should understand it properly and to measure success properly. Otherwise, it could be dangerous. So let's make this step back and let's think a little bit even about AI models. Okay, I assume that you all be sometimes got into the position and say, oh, the system hallucinate. the system is not so confident in the next, I would say, sentence, solution, token. Token is the most correct item. So on the market, metric exists that is called perplexity. And actually it is about confidence level. Is your model certain or uncertain in predicting of the next token? Lower perplexity, better prediction. Yeah, so we need to understand, is our sequence actually not just correct, but are we confident in that result or not? So my idea right now is to push you in this new reality a little bit, wider metrics than other items. I don't know, it's a kind of really traditional way for me to use AI to summarize some emails, meetings definitely, transcripts, and so on and so on. So you put everything in Copilot, any other system, and you try to grab the summary. So we have here Rouge score. Yeah. Is this summarization good enough? Yeah. So this metric is focused on recall of important content. Tricky question. What is important, what is not important? Because for some systems, the important thing would be thing that is repeated many times. From other point of view, I have my favorite example from my customer. When he was like, okay, we have huge email thread and seems that we are on the same page, but have you seen that small sentence from our main solution architect, who actually with one sentence crossed all the idea? That is why. What would be the real value from this metric and how to measure success in the game of summarization? The next task. Oh, I assume that a couple of days ago we had the deadline, to finish performance feedback. And we've all, at least I hope so, we were creating feedback. Actually, I understand that we are recording the conference, but I would say it. How do I do it? So usually the first feedback I create absolutely manually, and I shape my style. Then I voice over for next colleagues item, the first item, the second, the third, and the fourth for extended feedback, and ask the system to shape and reshape it according to my style. So actually, I'm asking the system to plagiarize myself. No issues from legal point of view, but the quality is the question right now. And in order to check such results on the market, we would grab blue score metric. So, and I assume that you already understand what I'm talking about, that even despite the fact that three mentioned tasks are text-to-text transformation, metrics are actually different. What would we say about image generation from text? Yeah, we need separate metrics that would help us to compare feature of generated image versus real image, and it is FID metric. Okay, one more metric. Let's continue our story. What is still the best option to check and recheck something? Human in the loop. Yes, thank God we are testers and we are paid for trust issues, guys. That's great, and it is also part of metric system. Then let's imagine situations that you use some LLM model, LLM for support bot, for chatbots, etc., etc. Would your system be robust against some confusing inputs, misleading inputs? If some, I would say, a little bit frustrated customer, you know what I mean, yeah, would misbehave with your chatbot, how system would react? Answer in the same tone and you would have legal issues? Okay. Now we talk about adversarial accuracy. Yeah, so actually, can we handle trolling? Or we would be this troll? Then the next item that comes to my mind right now, how the system works with diversity. So when, for example, we have some creativity talk. Now, yeah, I'm not a great fan of Let's Brainstorm with LLM, but I know that it is really popular task. So if system wouldn't propose you some diverse answers and just repeat or provide similar generated outputs, you wouldn't be quite happy. How to measure it? Yes, we have diversity metrics. Good and cool and interesting. Just keep in mind that vast majority of these metrics usually you can calculate when you have access to the preliminary training data. That would be kind of specific for commercial models. So we have a lot of nice challenges and definitely computational efficiency. We have already discussed it. Igor started this item. I have continued. So how fast our system would burn our money. So money, just. So metrics are quite different, and I would be happy to pass the floor right now to Igor and to continue the discussion about the variety of metrics, because potentially you assume that everything is so easy.
No, definitely not. And with this AI world, it's completely not easy. As for me, right? If we are talking about metrics in terms of AI solutions tied to business, right? To business needs, to business cases. There's also a large variety of different things that you might want to measure. But before you do that, of course, it's very important to mind the business acumen and domain specifics, right? You should be aware, at least on the basic level, of what is industry about, right? Like if you're working in healthcare or oil and gas or financial services and all of that. So you need to be aware of what are the main drivers, what are the main challenges, metrics again that measure the entire business which its participants are pursuing. So, for example, you might appear in a situation when you realize that specifically selected model LLM is not suitable for the tasks you are letting them solve for you, right? So there are metrics that will measure the accuracy, right, of the selected model for specific tasks. Also, there might be such cases when it's really impactful for the business to have a bad prediction, bad recommendation from a Gen AI solution. And like in an example with Exicodon, you can see that the misrecommendation might be impactful to patient safety, which is really sensitive and very important topic for entire healthcare and life science industry. Also, you might want to stress your agentic solution. For example, if you're working in really dynamic environments where you have a lot of different and unstructured data, and usually your solutions are being tested and stressed against the test sample, but when it comes to like marketing or sales, or for example, some certain e-commerce solutions, right? You may need to verify whether your agentic solution is tolerant to the new data inputs and provides the same level of quality in the answers and responses that the solution gives. If we are talking, for example, in financial services and healthcare, it's really important for any solution, not just for agentic, but any software, to have an ability to trace and audit any specific action, any specific decision that has been made inside of the software. Because when it comes to any impact to, for example, to patient safety, you need to trace how specific appearance, how specific function has been performed, right? And the same concerns the agent and its decisions that it makes. So you need to be able to trace how specific decision has been made, how specific recommendation has been generated, because without that, you cannot implement this in any healthcare or life science solution. We already touched base that on efficiency and operational metrics. Again, you need to be aware of the power usage and efficiency of budgets that is being used for maintaining the GenAI solution. You also need to ensure if you have a dynamic environment when, for example, you have like a team of one marketer working with the content, and then you expanded that to 10, right? You need to make sure that your agentic solution can support this workload and can be easily scaled to that specific scale, right? And finally, in terms of core metrics, it's very important to mind bias and evaluate the fairness of agentic solution that you make. Us humans are known for being biased. We cannot, deny it. We are all biased, and we all have our criteria for being biased, right? And the same concerns the AI, right? We already seen a lot of examples when AI is biased towards different, dimensions, and it is really important to mitigate this as much as possible, right? And you need to also evaluate whether the responses being generated by AI is biased towards a certain dimension or not. So we shouldn't be only looking at the correctness and the solving specific business tasks, but also we need to ensure that it's not too much of bias. Really quick, the AI agent as a product metrics, basically, and this is something that you need also to pile on with things that we have just named, right? Again, learn your industry, learn your domain, learn your product. What are the objectives? What are the North Star? What is the North Star of your product? And that will help you to not only measure how efficient, how good your AI solution is, and of course qualified, but whether it also reflects and improves your business, right? So if you are working for products or solutions which are aimed at user attention, like social networks or web version of a newspaper, so you might want to pursue so-called MAU/DAU rates when you are evaluating the number of active users, the time spent on the certain page or listening for a certain music track, if you are talking about Spotify. If we are working in e-commerce, where we deal with a lot of transactions, right, with purchases, we also need to make sure that our solutions are not, badly impacting the conversion rate or time to transaction. So we need to make sure that, again, it doesn't create any issues with, transactions with the desired level of metrics that and examples of which I provided here. If we work with CRM systems, for example, or EMR systems, for example, right? where we have certain tasks which are being automated and digitalized. So such things like support tickets volume, incidents, or task efficiency or task completion time should be leveraged as a metrics to measure whether our solutions are good enough to to be implemented and maybe improve some of those metrics. If we treat our product service as a product, also we need to look at customer satisfaction rate or net promoter score. So because again, especially if we are working in support and providing trying to automate level 1 of support, we need to look at the feedback provided by the customer to see how our chatbot provides resolution to typical cases, whether those resolutions are made from the first attempt or not, whether we failed the SLA or we haven't failed that. So that's really important to know, and also important to understand that if we are working on letting the level 1 support specialist working on a specific regular and typical case, after implementing the Gen AI, we need to make sure that we don't have the same person checking after this Gen AI and after this agent and fixing things for them. And finally, again, we touched base that, but if we are talking about the platform things like backend, and we are also introducing some Gen AI capabilities there, like unit test generation or fixing SonarQube issues, we need to make sure that it doesn't impact our typical platform metrics like time to market, or if we are creating some test suite or something like that, or like CI/CD pipeline through again wipe coding or so, we need to make sure that we maintain the same or better platform metrics like time to market, change failure rate, and others that I have provided here in this slide. All right.
But I like the idea that potentially with the help of AI, our time to market would be less than before. Okay. So yes, actually, for all the testers, for all the business analysts, guys, if you expect that tomorrow you would be replaced, actually, definitely not tomorrow. We have such a huge amount of work that even hard to believe. But what is really important here? As a tester, if you would like to keep your status quo and continue, I would say, navigation-driven testing without this deep dive into business domain, that would be your personal challenge, because you wouldn't be actually capable to test AI agent, because without business domain, actually, I don't know, it's not about testing anymore. Igor, what do you think?
I dare to agree completely with you, Marina, because now when we are talking about client centricity, and this becomes like a major topic of all of the businesses in our industry, so I believe that it requires from every single employee, every single EPAMer in our case, to beware of client business, client challenges, and test the solution not against requirements and against acceptance criteria that was outlined by a business analyst, but also against the value that specific feature delivers. So something beyond the specific Jira ticket that is being tested. And I would say that quality is still a subject of client centricity, and but the thing is that it's
actually the pillar of clients.
One of the pillars for sure.
Yep.
And without quality, client centricity doesn't exist. So, but client centricity is not just about testing, right? It's about understanding client business. It's understanding of what is the value we are delivering. It's understanding its client advisory and leadership, and going extra mile. So extra something which is documented just in Jira ticket, but understanding much more and beyond that is just given or explicitly communicated by the customer.
Super. So we are ready and open for the questions. So,
Wow, really cool and interesting. The audience has a few questions on the platform. Let's discuss them. So, Marina, our first question, how can metrics such as token cost or the amount of processed data influence decision-making and business strategies?
actually, I can provide a really fresh example that we are working on right now. We have a dream. Yeah, for a long time, we would like to have AI agent that would help to create knowledge graph or impact analysis graph, etc., etc. And we have a negotiation process right now with one of the big accounts and a lot of stakeholders. And the first question, how much would it cost not to develop it, but to use it for first run of the operational cost, every iteration for every change? So token cost and all these items, they're actually game changer. If it would be too much, then we would keep as is and find some workarounds.
Very interesting. Next question. What examples of negative consequences from misinterpreting AI metrics can you share from your own experience?
I think I can share one of them. So it relates to SDLC. So when it was coming to improving the BA processes by introducing GenAI capabilities to generate user stories, so we had pretty well AI adoption metrics saying, "Hey, we are very good. We are AI enabled in business analysis. So cool." But again, it led to two issues. So despite we have improved the quality, the time for producing a user story for the team, we ended up in a situation when the time spent by a BA to produce a user story, to create document all the acceptance criteria, all of that, it appeared to so now the BA started fixing things after the GenAI, because there were a lot of different specifics, nuances, like I mentioned, the new data, the noise in data, right, which hasn't been encountered in the agentic solution produced for them. And another thing which goes beyond the process metrics and improvements and all of that corporate stuff is that the motivation of the team has decreased, because instead of creating stories, like making the breakdown, documenting things, and kind of, let's say, creative work for a business analyst, I can state it as a BA also, they started just reviewing job and fixing things after the GenAI, which is not so exciting and well deserved job for a nice business analyst. And they hadn't started doing nice things like discoveries or interviews with clients, more than still working on the same documentation for user stories and for the teams to work on specific features.
Oh, incredible. And the last question. How can transparency and ethics be ensured when selecting and applying metrics to evaluate AI solutions?
I believe I can pick this up, but Marina, feel free to also add your ideas here.
Please start, yeah.
Sure.
You would do the first.
I think in our previous slides we partially answered this question, right? So the first thing is that you don't need to look at one or two metrics. So you need to understand the business. Again, you need to understand the domain, and then you need to come up with the metrics that will provide you different glances on the same thing, on the same solution. And ethics and transparency can be one of them, right? So you need to figure out what are the things that will measure those those items from viability perspective, and how your product still maintains transparency and ethics. Another thing which should be leveraged, and again, it comes from the product management, is listening to your customer voice. So metrics themselves may tell you one thing, but your customer, through incidents, service requests, feedback, may tell you completely different things. So you need also to take into account what is the customer saying to you through various and available channels, and then ensure whether your metrics are lying to you, and or they are actually complementing the things that's being shared in the customer voice. Marina, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm completely in, and also I would like to add about some, from one point, boring thing, from other point of view, that's also our pillar. We need to think and analyze and prepare really good test data sets to be sure that these data sets are not, I would say, non-ethical, are not really biased, and add additional data to understand how system actually works with this data. Any guardrails, any, I would say, additional mechanism that would help us really to build responsible AI that can help us operate the business, and not some funny but black box that can cause a lot of risks. So we always were talking about as data and metrics that help to check the actual situation. But in the AI world, it would be even more important, because I can predict a lot of legislative issues if it wouldn't be done.
Sure. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Guys, if your questions aren't answered, don't worry. Our speaker will respond to everyone in writing as soon as possible. Wonderful. Thank you, Marina and Yegor, for your bright and insightful presentation and informative answers. Your analysis of the complex aspects of metrics in the field of artificial intelligence helps the professional community better understand the risks and challenges associated with their use. Thank you for sharing your experience and opening new perspectives for discussion and industry development. Thank you, folks. Follow us on social media to catch all the cool stuff. Don't miss our special challenge. Stick around and join the fun. We've got awesome talks from our speakers, fun contests, and cool prizes. Thanks to everyone who joined us. Tomorrow we have 2 special guests waiting for you. See you then.